back to Alice Talks Football and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news and update roundup. In today's video, we'll be covering reports of a Baleba bid going in. Manchester United are aware of the 100 million asking price and a bid is imminent after a big meeting where Ruben Amorim is telling the United board and hierarchy, go and make your bids. Manchester United reach a 6-year agreement with Baleba on terms, according to reports. No personal terms won't be an issue. Is it actually agreed, like being reported? Is it more of a verbal agreement? Let's make sure we agree something with Brighton before officially agreeing it. But reports coming out that United have officially agreed terms with Carlos Baleba. Updates on Hojlund. Obviously, he'd love to stay, but he's sort of accepting he needs to go. Hojlund stance. Milan look like they're going to win the race. Dortmund have some, not Dortmund. RB Leipzig have some interest. Newcastle have some interest. Sancho rejecting more moves to Turkey. They're the only ones that are going to give you the wages you want, Turkey and Saudi, but he keeps rejecting them. And then just, more Garnacho, just boring news, to be honest. So let's dive into it. But if you do enjoy today's video, feel free to hit the like button and, of course, subscribe down below if you're new. So IndyCar, who were the people that obviously broke the story initially that United were in for Baleba, and David Ornstein actually credited them because there's about 5 people that work at IndyCar, and although their reputation is very hit and miss, they obviously do have some sources. They've got a lot right this summer, and they said a bid for Carlos Baleba from Man United is imminent. Manchester United had a big board meeting yesterday with Amorim, and it got very intense, and Amorim made it clear that Baleba's a must signing this summer. I mean, literally, I believe that Amorim has done that. I believe there has been a board meeting where Amorim's made it clear, get me Carlos Baleba. I cannot go into next season without a midfielder. We cannot go into next season without a midfielder that is a Carlos Baleba type midfielder. So I believe that, we have had a meeting. Amorim is demanding Carlos Baleba. That's a no-brainer. But they said a bid is imminent. Now, I have some questions over it because IndyCar have been pretty spot on with their Carlos Baleba news. But we haven't sold anyone yet. So I feel like a bid isn't imminent, in my opinion, until we sell someone. Like, I know they've been very accurate with their news. I know they've been very accurate with information on Carlos Baleba. But I don't, like, I said this about Cisco, so I could be very wrong, but I just didn't see United making any bids until we sold anyone for Baleba after the amount of money we spent on Cisco, Cunha and Bumo. I could be wrong. We made a bid for Cisco without selling anyone. So they said a bid is imminent. And you know what? If a bid comes in the next 24 hours, because I think imminent means 24 to 48 hours, then I will be very happy. So hopefully IndyCar are correct. They obviously said around 11 a.m. today they had news, and then they dropped this 3 hours later. So they've been holding on to it for a little while, but they said a bid is imminent. Nobody else has confirmed this yet. Nobody else has said a bid is imminent yet. But you know what? Let's wait and see if anything happens in these next 24 hours. Now, other reports have come out in regards to Carlos Baleba. Nico Schreier has said this. Manchester United are pushing to try and sign and reach an agreement with Brighton for Carlos Baleba, who has an agreement with Manchester United for a contract until 2030 with an option for 2031. So that's essentially a 6-year contract. So he is coming out and reporting that United have actually reached an agreement with Carlos Baleba over personal terms. So we've actually reached an agreement for Baleba for a contract until 2030 to 2031, with the option until 2031. Sorry. So we've now got reports that the bid is imminent, and now we've got reports that United are pushing to try and reach an agreement with Brighton. They've tied Baleba down. He's agreed a sort of 5-6 year contract, blah, 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 blah. So we'll keep an eye on that. Nothing from Ornstein, nothing from Romano, nothing from Whitwell, or even people that are just very good in the space like Sammy Mockbell from them yet. God, I can't talk today. So we'll take everything with a pinch of salt. But that is what's been said in regards to Baleba, that personal terms are agreed, 6-year deal is agreed, and a bid is imminent. Sam Wallace says otherwise of the Telegraph. Carlos Baleba is valued at Brighton at more than 100 million, with United currently unwilling to buy at that level. Now, we've been told that Baleba is valued at 104 million. Now, João Pedro was initially valued at 90 million and was sold for 55 plus add-ons, taking it to 60. So maybe United believe they can get the price down, but I think Carlos Baleba is worth a lot more than João Pedro personally. So obviously Sam Wallace is saying that Brighton buy him at more than 100. I think if it's 100 million, it's very possible. Lots of sources say it's around 100 million, 104 million. I think it's very possible. But yeah, this is where the conflicting reports come in, because IndyCar is saying United are ready to make a bid. Other sources are saying it's 100 million. United are unwilling to buy at that level. What I am going to say is we've been in for Baleba for about 9 days now, or 9 days now, about now. I think since we initially opened talks for Baleba, I think we would have walked away now and pursued other midfield targets had we felt we weren't going to pay 100 million. Because I think Manchester United must have known this whole time it's going to be around 100 million. Maybe they can't pay 100 million, but they think they're going to get the price down. But there's a lot of conflicting reports. Are we going to make a bid? Our personal terms actually agreed. I mean, they're not an issue. So yeah. Anyway, let's talk about Rasmus Hojlund, because Fabrizio Romano has come out to say today, just now actually, in his video, and said that Hojlund is starting to open the door for a departure, but he's not officially said yes to Milan yet. He hasn't officially said, yes, I want to go. He would love to stay at United and fight for a place at United, but he is opening the door to an exit, is said by Romano. And Rob Dawson said some interesting things today, and I'll get into a few of the things that he said, which sort of, I think, maybe give context to this situation. Hojlund is reluctant to leave Manchester United this summer, but fears he may have to move in order to get regular minutes. So this was said by Rob Dawson. He doesn't want to leave, but I think he's realised he's got to leave to get minutes. Basically, what Rob Dawson was alluding to in his full article was that basically this is Hojlund's dream to be at Manchester United. He's dreamed of being a Manchester United player. He was at Atlanta, Copenhagen, dreamed of being a Manchester United player. And he feels, he came in his first season, was so much pressure on him as a young striker to do everything because Martial wasn't fit. This season, maybe not had service. It was our worst season. It wasn't just him, which is true. Now he's got better players around him. Now, he thinks that he can make it work this season. He's feeling good. He's feeling confident. And there's a part of him that's like, I want to make it work at United. This is my dream. I'm not ready to give up yet. I don't want to leave United as a flop. I've only had 2 years. I'm young. But there's another part of him going, well, Amorim isn't playing me at all. And Hojlund knows that he may need to leave to get that playing time, because when Xerxes fit, I think he'll be backup 9 to Sesko. And a lot of people will comment, Xerxes not a 9, but he played 9 better than Hojlund did last year in the latter stage of the season. So yeah, it's one of those, but I do feel for Hojlund, because it's not completely his fault that he's flopped, but I just don't think he's going to get the minutes. Reports from good German sources coming out that Sancho rejected a move for Besiktas. It was reported earlier by Sky that Besiktas were interested. Juventus and Borussia Dortmund remain in the mix. Some sources are saying Inter, so that could be one to watch. BVB's interest has cooled recently. Borussia Dortmund will come back on deadline day to see if they can get him on a cheap loan deal, because that's Dortmund, what they do. So yeah, Sancho, Juventus, it's still there. Is he waiting until deadline day? I just think at this point, I think Sancho is trying to force Man United into doing a loan move so he can get his wages for 1 more year and us pay some of his wages to go to Juventus, I think, to be honest. But Simon Stone is now reported today, and Simon Stone is a pretty reliable source of information, that Roma do have some interest in Jadon Sancho. So let's see what happens with that. Also, we drew at Grimsby Town in the second round of the Carabao Cup as well. So our opening Carabao Cup game is versus Grimsby Town. So other news coming in if anybody cares. But I wanted to talk about Garnacho quickly. The update on Garnacho for the millionth time from Sky today is that Chelsea value Garnacho at 30 million, United want 50 million. I don't think that's an update anymore. I really don't think that's an update. There was also updates from Sky Sports chief that Betis are struggling to do a deal for Anthony, and he mentioned Anthony's agent hasn't ruled out a move to Saudi Arabia, because Betis just don't seem to want to pay up. So I'm kind of hoping Anthony does just go to Saudi Arabia now. That was also mentioned in regards to Manchester United news. But look, I'm going to make this your 9-minute roundup. I'm going to make this quick and to the point. Please sign Baleba. Please some sales. Please Chelsea bid up for Garnacho. I cannot be bothered to read out for the millionth time this week that you value him at 30 million. You sold João Felix for 44. You sold Madueke for 52 million. Garnacho being valued at 30 million is a joke. I don't know how many times I need to say that. I can't be bothered to say anymore. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye.